are building an ark, photographing every species in captivity, including those at risk of extinction. And with your help, we can take action to save some of the charming, fierce, wonderful creatures, one photo at a time. See what we can save together. The world is full of fascinating, curious, beautiful creatures that keep our planet diverse and healthy. But these species are disappearing at an alarming rate in the wild. National Geographic and photographer Joel Sartori are building an ark, photographing every species in captivity, including those at risk of extinction. And with your help, we can take action to save some of the charming, fierce, wonderful creatures, one photo at a time. See what we can save together. Our world is full of fascinating, curious, beautiful creatures that keep our planet diverse and healthy. But these species are disappearing at an alarming rate in the wild. National Geographic and photographer Joel Sartori are building an ark, photographing every species in captivity, including those at risk of extinction. And with your help, we can take action to save some of the charming, fierce, wonderful creatures, one photo at a time. See what we can save together.
Hi students, thank you for joining us today. We're going to get started in about 1 minute as we allow for everyone to join. So excited to have everyone here today. Hello. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. So we'll start in about 2 minutes. Great to see everyone. Good morning, Maria. Hello, everyone. Hi, Carissa. Glad to see everyone today. Welcome from Turkey. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm so excited to see everyone here with us today for Project Exploration 2.0. So good afternoon, students, and depending on where you're joining me from around the world, good morning. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I just want to say hello to everyone. And today, students, we are going to become true animal adventurers, okay? So we are going to put on our explorer hats, and we're going to learn about different habitats and animals around the world. So I'm so excited to be working with you today. I'm DaVida Alston, and I will be your teacher for today's lesson. So let's get started. So students, I just want to let you know a few things. Since you're joining from Zoom webinar, or if you're learning from YouTube link, all of the cameras and the mics have been turned on so that everyone can engage and hear today's lesson. If you're joining me from Zoom though, you may use the chat features, and I see some of you already using the chat feature. And if you would like to ask questions, you may also use the Q&A. And then I may ask you to raise your hand if you know the answer to question using the raise hand feature, okay? And we will be together for about 30 minutes. So let's put on your listening caps and let's get started. So in order to become a true animal adventurer, we're going to do 3 things today, okay? So 1, we're going to learn some new vocabulary words to make you become a true animal adventurer. 2, we're going to explore where animals live all around the world. And then I'm most excited about the 3rd step. You will get to meet a true, real animal adventure today, okay? So guys, are you ready to have some fun for today's lesson? I know I am. We will start this lesson today by singing our animal adventurer song. So I want you to sing along with me, and we're going to sing together. Let's go.
Come outside, explore outside, explore outside with me. Look at the birds, how many birds? 3 birds, 1, 2, 3. Come outside, explore outside, explore outside with me. Look at the flowers, how many flowers? 3 flowers, 1, 2, 3.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed singing our Explorer song as we learn about different animals all over the world. So we're going to play an activity together. So the activity is called Look, Listen, and Say. So look, listen, and say. So I want you to look at a picture, and then you'll listen to me, and then you'll repeat after me the name of the animal. So let's try it together. Let's look at the first animal. Does anyone know what this is? Raise your hand in the chat if you know what this animal is. Okay, so let's look, listen to me. J is for jaguar, and I see some students raising their hand. Great job. J is for jaguar. Can you say? Good job. Let's try the next one. Does anyone know what this animal is? Let's look at the picture. A is for alligator. Alligator. Great job. Okay, let's look, listen, and say. The next one. This is one of my favorite animals. Let's look, and it is H is for hippo. Hippo. Great job, guys. Let's look at the next one. I happen to see this animal a lot in the habitat where I live. Let's look. Does anyone know what this is? Let's try together. C is for camel. Camel. Okay, let's look at another picture together. How about this animal? Let's look. Listen to me. E is for elephant. Now you say, E is for elephant. And this is one of my favorite pictures. Does anyone know what this is? If you do, why don't you try typing it in the chat? Does anyone know what this is? Let me help you. So let's look, listen. V is for vulture. Vulture. Can you try to say that? Vulture. Great job, guys. And let's look at one more together. This is an easy one. Okay, let's look, listen, and say. D is for duck. So these are different animals that you can find all over the world in different habitats. And that's what we're going to learn today. what exactly is a habitat? And I just said that one of them is in the habitat where I live. I live in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And so I get to see camels in my environment, okay? So to help us with today's lesson, we're gonna learn some new words. So those words are habitat. You'll learn what a habitat is. And we'll look at some different habitats. We'll look at the coast, the wetlands, grasslands, and the desert. You're also going to learn how to protect the animals and organisms. And when I say organisms, the living things in your environment, okay? So we'll learn how to protect, so that's a new word. And you'll find out why some animals are becoming endangered or extinct, or meaning that they're disappearing in our environment. So habitats, coast, wetland, grassland, desert, and protect the endangered animals, okay? So let's look at this. Living things are everywhere. And our central question for our lesson today is, what is a habitat? I want you guys to think about, does anyone know the answer to that question? Raise their hand if they know. What is a habitat? Oh, I see some students raising their hand. Great. Well, you know what? I think we need to watch a video just to learn a little bit more about what is a habitat, okay? So let's watch a video together, students.
Every living thing on this planet needs a place to call home. A place that provides their basic needs, like shelter and food for energy. These places are called habitats. The Earth is a very big place with millions of different animals that live in a wide variety of habitats. What are Earth's habitats like?
Let's think about that question. What are Earth's habitats like? So can someone type in the chat for me? Just tell me, what did you learn about a habitat? What is a habitat? Let's see if anyone can help me. If there are any teachers who can help the students to tell us what is a habitat. And someone just said they can't hear me. So let me make sure I turn up my volume just a little louder. And then please let me know if you can hear me now, okay? All right, so what is a habitat? If you saw the video, please tell me, what is a habitat? Ooh, someone said somewhere where animals live. I like it. Christina also said where animals live, where animals and plants live. Very good. Okay, I love in the video, it said where animals can call their home. So where animals can find their home. And Carissa also said a place where animals live and can find food. Yeah, it talked about animals having their basic needs. So shelter, their food. I love these. And someone else said houses for animals, where they live. Great job, guys. And you're all exactly right. So it's a place where animals and plants live. Okay, and here's some of the habitats that we will look at today. So I'm going to just do a quick read aloud with you guys, and then show you some pictures about where different animals live in different habitats, okay? So many kinds of living things live all over planet Earth. They live on land and in water. Forests, deserts, oceans, and ponds are full of living things, and different kinds of plants and animals live in different places. Let's look at some of these pictures. So the first one is the hippopotamus, and we saw that in the beginning. The hippopotamus spends time on land and in water, okay? But the chameleon lives on land all of the time. So that's the difference between the two habitats. Some animals on land all the time, and then others live on both land and water. So let's look at one of our first habitats, the coast. Does anyone live near the coast? Does anyone live near the coast who's joining me today? So many plants and animals live on the sandy coast. And a coast, which is one of our words, is a land that is next to the ocean. And you can see things like the seagrass, crabs, turtles, all of these different things live in the environment. Let's look at this wonderful bird that lives in this valley. The egret will use its sharp bill to catch other animals. And the grass helps to provide shelter. in the environment. And I love this picture. Look at the ghost crab. So the ghost crab can burrow, and burrow means to hide, can hide in the sand to remain hidden from other animals, okay, that may cause it harm. And then look at this young sea turtle. It's just hatched and it's crawling quickly into the ocean for better protection. And then I love this picture, how they collect their food. Great pictures, okay? So this is the coast, which is next to the ocean. And then another habitat is the wetlands. So the wetlands is a land that is covered with water some of the time. And plants or animals are suited for life in this wet place. So let's just look at some of the things that you'll see. Remember I said earlier, vulture? So vultures eat whatever they can find, like leftover scraps from the alligator, okay? And then look at this beautiful bird. And they are able to fly away fast so the alligator doesn't get too close. And do you see my alligator at the bottom of the picture? And so an alligator can stay cool in the water, but it also can hunt for food. So look at the alligator going. So the alligator can live both on land and in the water. So this is the wetlands habitat. All right, so we've learned about the coast, the wetlands. Let's see what's next. The grasslands, okay? So I'm from the United States, and I'm used to vegetarian or areas that look very similar to this. So the grasslands are found all over the world, but this just happens to be a picture from Australia. So we're gonna see some of the animals that live in this grassland in Australia. So let's look at what we see, guys. So the first one is the dingo, and the dingo is a wild dog, and groups of dingoes hunt other animals so that they may survive, okay? But here's one of my favorite, and it's the red kangaroo. So the red kangaroo lives in the grasslands in Australia, and there's a fun fact. Let's listen to this fun fact about how fast the kangaroo can move. So it can cover over 8 meters, which is 25 feet in just a single hop. Would you guys like to see the kangaroo hop? Let's watch it together. Look at the kangaroo, how fast it hops, okay? So this is the grassland. Pretty cool, and I see some answers in the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Very good, the kangaroo, wonderful. Okay, so let's look at our next two. This is the grassland, and then the last one is the desert. And as I said, I currently live in Dubai, so this is my habitat. And a desert is a very large region that gets very little rain each year. So few plants or animals live in the desert area because they have to have special features to help them to survive in the dry climate. So some of the animals that we see in the desert, the camels, okay? Also, let's see, chameleon, and the chameleons adapt to their environment. In other words, they can adapt by changing their color, and the word is camouflage, to be able to survive in their environment. And guys, look at this fun picture. This is the desert fox, and its thick fur helps to protect against the conditions in the desert. So we have all of these animals that are able to adapt. In other words, they can survive in the climate of the desert habitat, okay? So guys, look at all those different habitats and just think about where you live and what are some of the animals that you may see in your environment or in the habitat where you live, okay? But you know what? I want to learn a little bit more about different animals and how they survive, and sometimes how they're becoming endangered, meaning that they're starting to disappear. So endangered is just a word for saying disappear. So I've invited a very, very special guest with me today. And our special guest had to travel. She's been on a deserted or an inhabited island, a deserted island off the coast of the UK. So if anyone lives near the UK, she was there. And she's been doing some research or some studies about different habitats. So would you please welcome a National Geographic Explorer who's a true animal adventurer. This is what she does. And her name is Dr. Annette. Hi, Dr. Annette.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today. Dr. Annette, can you share with the students some of the exciting things that you've been finding about different habitats and working with seabirds?
Of course. So I'm an animal adventurer and I like all animals, but most of all, I like seabirds, and I'm a seabird biologist. So my job is to study seabirds and so that we can protect them better. And so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what seabirds are, how fantastic they are, and also a little bit about what I do as a seabird biologist studying seabirds. So what are seabirds? Well, seabirds are birds that live in an ocean habitat. In fact, they spend most of their lives at sea, and you can find them everywhere in the oceans around the planet. For example, in the North Atlantic, you might find an Atlantic puffin. This is the bird with a brightly colorful bill on the left. If you go towards Antarctica in the Southern Ocean, you will find albatrosses and penguins. But if you go into more tropical regions like the Indian Ocean, for example, you will find tropic birds and terns. So there are different seabirds all over the planet. Some of them are excellent travelers and they can fly thousands of kilometers across oceans. But others cannot fly at all, like penguins, but they've become excellent swimmers instead. Now, the birds that you might see around your house, for example, that are on land, may feed on seeds or insects or fruit. But if you're a seabird living at sea, you can't have access to insects or fruit. And so seabirds instead eat fish. Now, some of them will catch the fish from the top of the water. They'll fly and catch a fish from the top, like the tern that you can see on the left here, and they will bring a single fish back to their chick to feed. Others, like the puffin, which is the bird on the right, do something different. They actually swim and dive really deep, tens of meters underwater, and they can catch lots of fish, dozens of fish at once. And you can see here that puffin has so many fish in its beak, and it's bringing a big meal to its chick. Now, a key role of the habitat for animals is that it provides a place for them to breed. And so for birds, that means building a nest and laying some eggs and raising some chicks. But if you're a seabird living at sea, you can't build your nest on the water, it would just sink. And so seabirds need another habitat just for breeding. And their other habitat is islands. So they come back to land to breed. And usually they do that on remote islands because these islands are far from the coast and they tend to be quite safe from predators. I'm going to show you a few examples of seabird islands. So this is an island called Grasson, which is actually very close to where I live in the UK, and it's quite small. And if you can see on the left picture, it's covered in sort of white stuff. But if you zoom on this white stuff, you realize it's actually thousands and thousands of seabirds, and these birds are called gannets, and they've all built their nest incredibly close to each other. It's really, really busy out there. So usually seabird colonies, a colony is a group of seabirds breeding together. Usually seabird colonies are like this. They're very, very dense. There's loads and loads of numbers. So my question is to you guys, do you know why these seabirds are breeding so close to each other on this island? Do you have any idea? Feel free to show your answers in the chat.
Oh, let's see, Dr. Annette. Who can say why they think they're going so close together and they're breeding, which means they're very close together? Let's see. Love the pictures, Dr. Annette.
Yes, this is a fantastic place.
Oh, let's see. Some people are saying in the chat, Dr. Annette, for protection or to keep warm. I love these. To be safe, someone else said.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is for protection against predators. Because if you're a predator and there is a single nest, it's much easier to attack that nest. But if there's many, many of the birds guarding their nest, then it's much harder. And so that makes it safer. In some places like Antarctica, it also provides a way to keep warm. So that's also right. Not in the case of gannets, but penguins, for example, definitely use numbers to keep warm. Okay, so let's look at another island now. Now this one, the birds are not nesting on the ground, but they are nesting in trees. This is a video I've taken on a beautiful island called Aldabra Atoll in the Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. And these trees are called mangroves. They grow their roots in the water. And you can see there's loads of birds nesting in these trees. And on the photo, you can see there are some frigate birds, which are these black birds. And the white fluffy birds are the frigate birds' chicks, which are on the nest and they haven't yet left the nest. Now let's look at a third type of island. And I have a little question for you about this one. So this is Skomer Island in Wales, next to where I live. And this is the island where I was actually, and I've just got off a few days ago. And you can see on this picture some cliffs with some grass and a little house. And this is the house where I live when I'm on the island studying the birds. But if I told you that in this picture, there are tens of thousands of seabirds on their nest, you probably wouldn't believe me. But I promise you, it's true. There are loads of seabirds in this picture. So my question is, where do you think the birds are and why can we not see them? So I'll wait to hear what you have to, if you can guess where they are.
Where are my true animal adventures? Can any of the students guess, looking at the picture, where they think the birds may be? Where are they? Ooh, someone said under the ground. Maria said under the ground.
So that's very interesting. So we have a clue for those of you who might not know, and maybe you can try some guesses. So the next clue is me looking at a nest with a camera. So there's no trees on this island anywhere. So on this photo, I'm looking at a nest with a camera. So maybe that would give you a clue as to where these birds are. And some of you have guessed right already. Well done.
Yeah, some of the students are saying under the water, under the ground. So we have loads of guesses. These are great.
Great. Well done. So to those of you who say underground, well done, because you've got the right answer. These seabirds on this island dig under the ground little burrows to build their nest underground. And that's because it's much safer if your egg and your chick is underground. The predators can't get to them. And you can see here, this is a puffin just peeking out of its burrow. And so on this island, you walk around and there are thousands of birds under your feet, but you can't see them. And that's actually a very common way to build nests for seabirds underground. Okay, and this is just to illustrate this. This is a little video that I've also taken of a puffin bringing some fish back to his chick in the burrow. And you can see the puffin rushes in the hole in the ground. The reason why it's going so fast is that there might be gulls flying around that might try and steal the fish. And so it has to be very quick. And once it's in the nest underground, it's all safe. And that's where the chick is, waiting for a nice meal. Okay, so as an animal adventurer and a seabird biologist, I try to learn more about seabirds so that we can protect them. I ask many questions, but one of them is to try and find out where seabirds feed, because then we can protect the areas where they find food. When the birds are breeding on land, I can look at them with my binoculars or with a spotting scope like on this photo. But when they go at sea to find fish, I can't see them. I have no idea where they're going. So what I do is I use tracking technology, like this very small GPS you see in my hand. They're very small tracking devices. And they're a bit like maybe in your parents' car or in their phone. They have a sat nav that tells you where to go if you want to drive somewhere. But this is the same principle. And I put these little devices on the back of birds when they go out to feed. And that tells me where they are. So let's look at an example of me using this with some puffins. I try to find out where puffins feed when they go out to sea finding fish for their chick. And what I found, and you're going to see this on a little animation in a second, is these birds are going actually quite far at sea. So on this video, every little point is a different bird in a different color. And you can see them moving out to sea and coming back to the island. The island is where the orange dot is at the moment. And you can see that some of them are going really, really far, maybe 30 or 40 kilometers away. So they have to fly very long distances to find this fish and bring it back to their chick. And by doing this, we can find out which of the very important areas for the puffins to find food. And these areas we can then try and protect to make sure they have no difficulty in finding the food they need for themselves and for their chicks to be healthy. Now, I do a lot of research on Skomer Island in the UK, but I also do research in Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. And I've just showed you that video of the seabirds there earlier. And I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to give you a glimpse of what this island and my research there is like. Now, this island is called Aldabra Atoll, and it's a very large coral atoll in the Western Indian Ocean. And it's a beautiful place that has lots of different habitats. So in the middle of the island, there's a lagoon which has very calm waters. And this is a very good habitat for small fish, young shark, and young turtles. On the outside, you have the ocean where the larger turtles and fish and sharks are. And then you have the land. And on land, there's open land where the giant tortoises are, and then beaches where the turtles nest. You have the mangrove that I showed you already, which provides shelter for the birds, but also underwater, providing shelter for the baby fish that go in the roots of the tree, which are underwater. And finally, you have these islets, which are these big rocks in the middle of the lagoon. And these also provide a place for seabirds to breed, for those who breed on the ground. And this is where I've been going. I've been going on these islets in the lagoon. And you'll see that on the next video of me. So this is me doing some research on Aldabra Atoll, and I'm on an islet. So if you see, I'm in the middle of the lagoon. You can see the lagoon all around me, and you can see the other islets, which are these big rocks everywhere. And so I hop from an islet to the next one with a little boat. And the birds I was studying nest on these islets under this really thick grass and thick plants, because that provides some protection from them, from the sun and from predators. And so I go from islet to islet to study the birds there. And the birds I study are called tropic birds. And here you see a nest of a tropic bird. I've taken the bird away to study it for a minute, and I'm going to put it back on its nest. You can see it has an egg. We can see the egg sort of well camouflaged on the ground there. And I'm going to put the adult, the parent, back on the egg. There you go. This is a parent red-tailed tropic bird, which I've just been studying. And now I'm putting it back on its nest. There you go. What a beautiful bird. And so these are the species I was studying on the island, and they're called tropic birds. There's different species. And what is sure about them is that they have the cutest chick possible. Look at this little ball of fluff here. So this is a really small chick just after hatching. And then over several months, it will grow and turn into an adult tropic bird. So just to finish, we've learned that seabirds are absolutely fascinating birds that live most of their lives in an ocean habitat, but they also link the ocean with the land by breeding on island habitats. Unfortunately, they are some of the most endangered birds on the planet. They're declining in many places, and so we need to learn more about them so that we can protect them well. And so wherever you live, there are seabirds around. So I encourage you, if you live near the coast or next time you're near the coast, to go and look out for these fantastic seabirds.
Thank you, Dr. Annette. That was so great. I learned so much about seabirds that I didn't know. And you know what, students, let's think of our work that we had at the beginning. Who can tell me which habitat that we discussed in the beginning? Where does Dr. Annette do most of her study or research? Where does it come from? Let's just see who can give a quick answer. Where does she just gave you the answer as well. Oh, I see students answering already. Let's see. Yeah, the coast. Very good, guys. Great job. So we learned that the habitats are a place where animals and plants live. And Dr. Annette shared more information about the environment and the habitat that she's working with the seabird. And we learned that the coast is a land that is next to the ocean. We learned about the wetlands and the land that is covered with water some of the time, and the grasslands, an area where I used to live. This land covered mostly by grass, and then the deserts, a large region that gets very, very little water, very dry. And then Dr. Annette talked about how do we protecting animals, protecting the seabirds from becoming endangered. So before we finish, I thought, and Dr. Annette, would you like to help me with this? I thought it would be fun just to play a quick game to see if you can guess where some of these animals connect the animal with the correct habitat. Okay, guys, so can you help me? Let's look at the first animal. Does anyone know what this animal is here? The giraffe. What habitat would you connect the giraffe to? Let's see who can help me with this one. Where will we connect the giraffe? The coast, grassland, desert, or the wetlands? Ooh, Z said the grassland. Let's see. You're correct. And yes, you are. Very good. Okay. And then someone, let's look at the next one. The crab. How about the crab, guys? Let's see. The coast. I see a lot of people saying. Very, very good. This is one of my favorite animals. Anyone know what this animal is? This nice pink bird. Does anyone know what the pink bird? I love it. And someone's already given me the answer. They're giving me the answer. Do you know what the bird is called? Flamingo. Thank you, Isabel. Very good. And you all were right. The wetlands. Very good. Okay, let's look at our next species. Let's see. Scorpion. Let's see. The scorpion. Very good. I hear desert. Great job, guys. And this was one from our reading today. The kangaroo. The kangaroo. You guys are so smart. The grasslands. Very good. And then we have 3 more left. Okay. 3 more left. The camel. And we saw this one a lot. I said this is one of my favorite animals that I get to see. Thank you, Christina and Janet. In the desert. Very good. Thank you both. And let's see. The next one, the turtle. How about the turtle, guys? How about the turtle? Very good. You guys are so smart. The coast. Very good. Thank you, Simon. And then the last one, we have 2 more, the duck and the zebra. So the duck, you guys are so smart and quick. The wetlands, very good. And my last one, the zebra. You guys are wonderful. We want to thank you for participating with us, looking at some of the cool animals. Dr. Annette, thank you so much for traveling to meet with us today. Would you like to say any last words to the students? And then if you have questions, we will stay on for questions as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was so much fun to talk to you about seabirds. And yes, I encourage you all to become animal adventurers. Animals are fantastic and so interesting.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So looking at habitats, and what I want you guys to do is to think about the habitats that are in your environment. And while you're on holiday, as you're finishing up your school year, we're going to have a fun activity for you to do where you'll learn about habitats where you may be traveling, and you can tell us about the different animals that you saw in your environment when you were traveling or on holiday. So we look forward from hearing from you. And for teachers that are joining us, we just want to share with you some of the materials we used for this lesson. We used our Exploring Science series, also explorations, and then look and see for some of the literacy activities that we did today with the students. Students, thank you for joining us. I had a great time with Project Exploration 2.0, and I hope that you learned a lot about habitats, and especially all of the cool seabirds, especially the puffins that Dr. Annette shared with us today. Thank you, guys. Everyone have a great rest of your day. And if you have questions, please stay on and we'll make sure that we answer questions with you. Bye, guys. Hi, Isabel from Agnog. Great to see you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We enjoyed working with you today. Grade 1 from Agnog. Great to see you guys today. We really enjoyed you. Thank you, Angelique. Bear Green International School. Great to see you guys today. Thank you for joining. Bye, Janet. Bye, everyone.